A pleasant day to everyone. Today we will be discussing the topic light independent reaction. But before we proceed, here are the learning points. First, understand photosynthesis, its purpose, and what it needs to make glucose and oxygen. Explain the two stages of photosynthesis and the steps of the Calvin cycle. And lastly, describe glucosynthesis and its importance as the main energy source for plants and other organisms. So before we proceed sa light-independent reaction, let us first have a short recap about photosynthesis together with the light-dependent reaction to further understand and differentiate the differences of the two types. Og short overview na sab ng light-independent reaction. Yan his ako part. So, what is photosynthesis? So, it is a chemical process which occurs in plants using light energy where carbon dioxide and water produces glucose and oxygen. So, ang photosynthesis ko, no, kay chemical process siya that happens in plants gayod. Pero, may some cases agad na yung subsist sa algae and some bacteria. So, makalaong ka mo or makonfuse ka mo na nga minlaw ako na gimension ko papil ang some bacteria. Kay tungod, nganhi sa god, may sab ila same thought about inin photosynthesis. Pero ang kuan gid niya dili sila same ng mga gipanhimo. Same thought da lamang siya na gakuha sab sila ng light energy from the sun to make their own food. Pero lahian ila mga gipanhimo. Same thought da. Dili siya like literal na pareho siya gid sa plants. Ngadhi lahi saban ila byproduct tapos yaoy iban na bacteria na wala sila gamit ng chlorophyll. Pero yaoy sa some mga bacteria kid maila chlorophyll like some bacteria. Pero lahi na type ng chlorophyll na hawd sa plants lahi kibali like lahi sibali sila na angkan di sila same. And also, maiban sa bacteria na ga-use ng alternatives ng chlorophyll. So again, ang pag-mention ako ng some bacteria, kay same thought siya na magkuha ng light energy from the sun to make their own food. Pero dili siya same gayud ng photosynthesis na ga-occur sa plants na ang iya cycle, ang iya gipanhimo, same thought da na yaon sa some bacteria. Gi-mention ko da siya apil kay ano pa gani, I think na dayaw siya mahibawan. So, again, ang photosynthesis kay ga-capture ng light energy from the sun. It's converted into chemical energy in the form of glucose or what we call sugar. In this process, plants take in carbon dioxide from the air and water from the soil, and with the help of chlorophyll, amoy ni ang green pigments sa leaves and enzymes. They produce glucose for energy and oxygen as a byproduct. So, pag mula gani kita ng byproduct, amo ini ang gihimo during a process. Pero dili gid siya like ang main product gayod. Kibali ya apil da siya like yahimo siya pag during sa process. So kibali pag sa buffet pa or like yo mga yung anak kibali side dish ba bitaw siya. Like dili gid siya ang main course. What photosynthesis needs? Sunlight. So, ang sunlight is amo ini ang main energy source for the process gayod. Water. Ining water kay kuan absorbed by roots, carbon dioxide, a gas from the atmosphere that plants use as the carbon source to build glucose molecules. Chlorophyll, amo ini ang absorbs light energy and gives leaves their green color. So, ini siya amo ini siya ang chloroplast kibali. Yeah, di chloroplast. And then enzymes amo ini ang magpa-speed up ng chemical reactions. So photosynthesis equation, 6 molecules of carbon dioxide plus 6 molecules of water using light energy produce 1 molecule of glucose and 6 molecules of oxygen. So there are two main stages of photosynthesis. We have the light-dependent reaction and light-independent reaction. So sa light-dependent reaction, iya galocate sa thylakoid membranes. So in thylakoid membranes, kayaon siya sa inside sa chloroplast. So ang iya function kay capture siya ng light energy from the sun to produce ATP and NADPH. So ang ATP, amo ini siya ang energy carrying molecule that stores and supplies energy for cell processes. Pag mulong kita na NADPH, amo sabihin niya electron carrier, any energy carrying, any electron carrier that provides high energy electrons needed to build glucose. Ang ila byproduct kay oxygen. And now, ang independent reaction, amo gad ang ato main topic. So, i-allocate siya sa stroma. Amo ini ang fluid filled space inside sa chloroplast. And ang iya function kay gayus siya ng ATP and NADPH nagikan sa light dependent reaction stage to fix carbon dioxide into glucose. So to further elaborate the differences of the two, let me show a short video.
I've daydreamed before about what it'd be like to have a special ability that other organisms can do. For example, to be able to fly like a peregrine falcon, or to be able to walk up walls without any gear, like a Texas bandit gecko. But if I told you I really wish I could have a special ability of a plant, you'd probably be confused. What can a plant do that's so amazing? There's a lot of cool things about plants, actually, but in particular, I really wish I could do photosynthesis. And it's not just plants that can do this process. Some protists and some bacteria can too, for example. But plants will be our main focus for this video clip. Animals and amoebas have missed out on this ability, but we benefit from it greatly, as this process also produces oxygen, a gas that we need. Plants in general are major producers, making them indispensable in food webs. Many of our medications and foods come from plants. We need plants, so understanding the nature of the process that plants use to make their own food is paramount. So when I say make their own food, I'm talking about making a sugar that they need, specifically glucose. You need glucose too, but you get it from what you eat. Plants, however, get to make their own glucose in photosynthesis. Here is the balanced overall equation for photosynthesis, similar to what you'll find in many introductory biology textbooks. As you will notice, it has some similarities to aerobic cellular respiration. Recall that cellular respiration is used to make ATP, which is an energy currency, and it's done by plants as well as animals and a lot of other organisms too. You can see how these reactants, inputs of photosynthesis, are included in the products, outputs in cellular respiration, and the products, outputs of photosynthesis are included in the reactants, inputs of cellular respiration. While this doesn't mean that they're simply reversed, it is interesting to see what they have in common. So while both plants and animals need glucose for cellular respiration, plants don't have to be in search of glucose, because they make it. Plants have adaptations to carry out photosynthesis in a variety of environments. One thing plants have to do is capture light. Plants can use light-capturing molecules called pigments. Recall that visible light has different wavelengths, and those different wavelengths of light have different colors. If you've ever played with a prism before, you can see how light can be separated into a rainbow of colors due to different wavelengths. So a pigment that plants commonly use to capture light is called chlorophyll. Chlorophyll does a great job at absorbing red and blue light, but not so much green light. Chlorophyll reflects green light, resulting in many plants appearing green to our eyes. There are pigments besides chlorophyll that work with different wavelengths of light, and this can explain why green is not the only color you see in plants. Chlorophyll is a pigment that can be found in the chloroplast of plant cells. There are two major processes that occur in the chloroplast that together make up photosynthesis. They are the light-dependent reactions and the light-independent reactions. The light-independent reactions can also be called the Kelvin cycle, or even, less commonly, the dark reaction. Sounds intriguing. We're going to talk about both of these briefly, and please remember, like most of our videos, this is pretty general. We've got some further reading links in the video description where you can explore a lot more detail. So, light-dependent reactions happen in the thylakoids, little compartments in the chloroplast that contain pigment. A collective stack would be a granum, multiple stacks would be grana. In the light-dependent reactions, light is captured, and water, which is a reactant in the photosynthesis equation, is split. That means if you think of the chemical formula for water, which is H2O, it is split so you get electrons, protons, and oxygen. So oxygen is also a product of the light-dependent reactions. The light-dependent reactions also produce ATP and NADPH, which we'll get to in a little bit. Both the ATP and the NADPH will be needed for the next process, the light-independent reactions, also known as the Calvin cycle or dark reaction. The name is a bit misleading. While yes, the process isn't directly capturing light, it doesn't require darkness either, and again, it will need items from the light-dependent reactions, like the ATP and NADPH. The light-independent reactions still happen in the chloroplast, but specifically, the light-independent reactions happen in the stroma. The stroma is a fluid outside of the thylakoids. In the light-independent reactions, or Calvin cycle, carbon dioxide enters. It is taken in through pores that are often, but not always, on the bottom of leaves, and those pores are called stomata. Plants have the ability to open and close their stomata. The carbon dioxide gas enters the stomata and will be fixed. By fixed, I mean that with the additional help of a major enzyme, the inorganic carbon dioxide is changed to a more usable form. The ATP from the light-dependent reactions will act as an energy currency for the Calvin cycle. The NADPH that had come from the light-dependent reactions will supply reducing power. By that, I mean that it helps add high-energy electrons to this process. So, in a very complex series of pathways, the fixed carbon dioxide, ATP, and NADPH are used to make a product that ultimately can be converted into glucose, a sugar. Whew. So let's take a look at this equation. Last time, I promise. So we have here the circled items. These were from the light-dependent reactions. Now, notice these other items, the carbon dioxide on the reactant side and the glucose on the product side. Those were from the Calvin cycle. Remember, there is so much more detail to explore in this amazing process. You can learn about the photosystems that are in light-dependent reactions, or detail of all the steps in the Calvin cycle, and how ATP and NADPH will be converted to ADP and NADP+, which can then be used again by the light-dependent reactions. But before we end our short video, we do want to mention that plants have some amazing adaptations that can help them perform photosynthesis efficiently in very different environments. Many of these adaptations can involve the diversity of leaf shapes, coverings, and pigments. This is definitely worthy of a completely separate video topic, but just to give a neat example of an adaptation involving photosynthesis, consider the cactus. Cacti have a potential problem. They often live in a hot desert, and so if they open their stomata during the hot day to get their carbon dioxide, they can easily lose more water than would be ideal. The precious water can escape through the stomata if the stomata are open, and that will happen at a faster rate in the hot desert sun. But cacti, and some other plants too, can do something called CAM photosynthesis. In CAM photosynthesis, plants can open their stomata at night when it's not so hot, and they can capture carbon dioxide and chemically store it. They can then use this carbon dioxide the next day when the sun is shining and yet have their stomata closed. This allows them to avoid having to open their stomata in the heat of the day. Well, that's it for the Amoeba Sisters, and we remind you to stay curious.
Fully discuss the light-independent reaction and its processes. Light-independent reaction. It is the second stage of photosynthesis where sugars are produced from carbon dioxide using ATP and NADPH from the light-dependent reaction. So, ang light-independent reaction ba po, no, kaya mo yung second stage ng photosynthesis na responsible siya para mag-produce ng sugars na gikan sa carbon dioxide. So, nganhi sa light independent reaction para makuha niya to para ma-produce ang sugar, gayus siya ng ATP and NADPH na gikan sa light dependent reaction. Ang alternate name kay Calvin cycle. So na nga Calvin cycle, kay tungod kay it was discovered by Melvin Calvin along with Andrew Benson and James Basham. Na amo ini sila ang ga-discover ng o study ng iya biochemical pathway. So na nga light independent ang tawag sa iya. So kay dili gid siya doesn't need light directly gid siya na dili pareho sa light dependent na anya gid source gid kay sa light inis ga depend siya sa light na ining light independent kay wara siya ga dili siya need kibali ng light directly wa gid siya ga depend sa light um kuan however ang light independent kay ga-depend gid siya entirely sa ATP and NADPH na gikan sa light dependent stage. Kuan pasabot ini it can only run if the light reactions have occurred. Kay kun waray kibaliya hitabo sa light dependent stage or wara yaon, waray sub light independent reaction na mahitabo. So, it is located in the stroma of chloroplast, amo ini ang fluid-filled space surrounding the thylakoids.
Good day, everyone. My part of this report is about the Calvin cycle, also called the light-independent reaction. The Calvin cycle is the light-independent stage of photosynthesis, where plants convert CO2 or carbon dioxide into glucose using ATP and NADPH from the light-dependent stage. It takes place in the stroma of the chloroplast and was discovered by Melvin Calvin. Key points. Also called C3 pathway. First stable product has 3 carbons. Depends on ATP and NADPH from the light-dependent reactions. Happens during the day even though it's called the dark reaction. So, it's called light independent because it doesn't directly need light, but it cannot happen without the products of the light dependent reaction rather, which are adenosine triphosphate or ATP, the energy carrier, and nicotinamide adenine dinucleotide phosphate or NADPH, the electron and hydrogen carrier. The Calvin cycle happens in the stroma of the chloroplast, and its main role is to use carbon dioxide powered by ATP and NADPH to produce glucose, which plants and other organisms use as food. So, the Calvin cycle has 3 main stages. Number 1 is carbon fixation, reduction phase, and regeneration of RUBP. Number 1, carbon fixation. The enzyme Rubisco attaches carbon dioxide to a 5-carbon molecule called RUBP. This forms an unstable 6-carbon compound that splits into 2 3-carbon molecules called 3-PGA. ATP and NADPH are not yet used in this stage. Reduction phase. This is where ATP and NADPH come in. ATP provides the energy and NADPH provides electrons and hydrogen. Together, they reduce 3-PGA into G3P. Some G3P molecules will always be used to form glucose. Number 3, the last, regeneration of RUBP. Most of the G3P is recycled back into RUBP. This process also requires ATP as energy to keep the cycle running. It takes 6 turns of the Calvin cycle. That means fixing 6 carbon dioxide molecules, consuming 18 ATP and 12 NADPH to produce just 1 glucose molecule. Inputs and outputs. The inputs of the Calvin cycle are 6 carbon dioxide molecules, 18 ATP, and 12 NADPH. The outputs are 1 glucose molecule, 18 ADP, and 12 NADP+, which are recycled back to the light-dependent reactions to be recharged. So, the light-dependent and light-independent reactions are connected. The light reactions produce ATP and NADPH, and the Calvin cycle uses them to build glucose. And that is the Calvin cycle, powered by ATP and NADPH, turning carbon dioxide into glucose, the basic food source that sustains life. Thank you.
Step 1. Carbon fixation. In these steps, the enzymes Rubisco attaches a molecule of a carbon dioxide carbon dioxide to RUBP. This creates an unstoppable 6-carbon compound which quickly splits into two molecules of 3-PGA. This marks the first stage of turning inorganic carbon from the air into organic molecules the plant can use. So, in this step, the plant takes carbon dioxide from the air. The enzymes RuBisco attaches to a 5-carbon molecule are called RuBP. This forms an unstoppable 6-carbon compound which immediately splits into 3-carbon molecules are called 3-PGA. This steps is important because it's the first time inorganic carbon from the air. It's converted into an organic from the plant can use to eventually make sugars. Step 2, reduction phase. During the reduction phase, each 3-PGA molecule is energized by ATP performing 1 to 3 by phosphoglycerine. Then the NADPH donates electrons to reduce into G3P, a high-energy sugar molecule. Out of the 6 molecules of G3P, produce 1 leaves the cycle to help from glucose while the remaining 5 are kept for the next step. So the reduction phase is each 3-PGA molecules is made in step 1 is given energy by ATP performing 1 to 3 by phosphoglycerine. Then NADPH donates a high energy electrons to convert into G3P, which is a highly energy sugar molecule.
Step 3, which is the regeneration of RuBP. In this step, 5 molecules of G3P are rearranged to form Step 3, which is the regeneration of RuBP. In this step, 5 molecules of G3P are rearranged to form 3 molecules of RuBP. ATP provides the energy needed for this rearrangement. Without this regeneration, the cycle would stop because RuBP is needed to capture more carbon dioxide in the next cycle. So before this step, carbon dioxide has already been fixed and converted into G3P. Some G3Ps are set aside to make glucose or the food for the plant, but others must go back into the cycle to keep it running. So what actually happens during these stages? 5 molecules of G3P, 3 carbons each is equals to 15 carbons total, are shuffled and rearranged. These are converted into 3 molecules of RuBP, 5 carbons each is equals to 15 carbons total. The carbons number stays balanced, 15 in and 15 out. ATP provides the energy for this rearrangement like fuel for the chemical work. So why is this important? RuBP is the starting molecule of the Calvin cycle. It is the net that catches new carbon dioxide molecule in the next round. Without RuBP, the cycle would stop completely, meaning no more glucose can be made.
You're facing a giant bowl of energy-packed carbon crunchies. 1 spoonful, 2, 3. Soon, you're powered up by the energy surge that comes from your meal. But how did that energy get into your bowl? Energy exists in the form of sugars made by the plant your cereal came from, like wheat or corn. As you can see, carbon is the chemical backbone, and plants get their fix of it in the form of carbon dioxide, CO2, from the air that we all breathe. But how does a plant's energy factory, housed in the stroma of the chloroplast, turn a 1-carbon gas like CO2 into a 6-carbon solid like glucose? If you're thinking photosynthesis, you're right. But photosynthesis is divided into 2 steps. The first, which stores energy from the sun in the form of adenosine triphosphate, or ATP. And the second, the Calvin cycle, that captures carbon and turns it into sugar. This second phase represents one of nature's most sustainable production lines. And so with that, welcome to the world's most minuscule factory. The starting materials? A mix of CO2 molecules from the air and pre-assembled molecules called ribulose bisphosphate, or RUBP, each containing 5 carbons. The initiator? An industrious enzyme named Rubisco that welds one carbon atom from a CO2 molecule with the RUBP chain to build an initial 6-carbon sequence. That rapidly splits into 2 shorter chains containing 3 carbons each and called phosphoglycerates, or PGAs for short. Enter ATP, and another chemical called nicotinamide adenine dinucleotide phosphate, or just NADPH. ATP, working like a lubricant, delivers energy, while NADPH affixes one hydrogen to each of the PGA chains, changing them into molecules called glyceraldehyde 3 phosphates, or G3Ps. Glucose needs 6 carbons to form, made from 2 molecules of G3P, which incidentally have 6 carbons between them. So sugar has just been manufactured, right? Not quite. The Calvin cycle works like a sustainable production line, meaning that those original RUBPs that kicked things off at the start need to be recreated by reusing materials within the cycle now. But each RUBP needs 5 carbons, and manufacturing glucose takes a whole 6. Something doesn't add up. The answer lies in one phenomenal fact. While we've been focusing on this single production line, 5 others have been happening at the same time. With 6 conveyor belts moving in unison, there isn't just one carbon that gets soldered to one RUBP chain, but 6 carbons soldered to 6 RUBPs. That creates 12 G3P chains instead of just 2, meaning that altogether 36 carbons exist, the precise number needed to manufacture sugar and rebuild those RUBPs. Of the 12 G3Ps pooled together, 2 are siphoned off to form that energy-rich 6-carbon glucose chain, the one fueling you via your breakfast. Success! But back on the manufacturing line, the byproducts of this sugar production are swiftly assembled to recreate those 6 RUBPs. That requires 30 carbons, the exact number contained by the remaining 10 G3Ps. Now, a molecular mix and match occurs. 2 of the G3Ps are welded together, forming a 6-carbon sequence. By adding a third G3P, a 9-carbon chain is built. The first RUBP, made up of 5 carbons, is cast from this, leaving 4 carbons behind. But there's no wastage here. Those are soldered to a 4th G3P molecule, making a 7-carbon chain. Added to a 5th G3P molecule, a 10-carbon chain is created, enough now to craft 2 more RUBPs. With 3 full RUBPs recreated from 5 of the 10 G3Ps, simply duplicating this process will renew the 6 RUBP chains needed to restart the cycle again. So the Calvin cycle generates the precise number of elements and processes required to keep this biochemical production line turning endlessly. And it's just one of the hundreds of cycles present in nature. Why so many? Because if biological production processes were linear, they wouldn't be nearly as efficient or successful at using energy to manufacture the materials that nature relies upon, like sugar. Cycles create vital feedback loops that repeatedly reuse and rebuild ingredients, crafting as much as possible out of the planet's available resources. Such as that sugar, built using raw sunlight and carbon, converted in plant factories to become the energy that powers you and keeps the cycles revolving in your own life.
So, glucose formation. When 2 molecules combine, they form 1 molecule of glucose. Producing 1 molecule of glucose requires 6 complete turns of the Calvin cycle, which consumes a total 18 ATP and 12 NADPH molecules. The glucose form can be used immediately for energy, stored as starch for later use, or converted into cellulose for building cell walls. So from G3P to glucose, each round of the Calvin cycle makes 1 G3P. To build glucose, The plants need 2 G3P molecules. This means the Calvin cycles must run 6 times because 1 usable G3P, the rest are recycled to regenerate RUBP. In making glucose, we need 18 ATP to provide the energy to power reactions and rearrangement, and 12 in ADPH to provide high energy electrons and hydrogen to reduce carbon compounds into sugars. These energy molecules come from light reaction of photosynthesis, showing how light reactions and Calvin cycles are connected. So why glucose matters to plants? Once glucose is formed, the plant can use in three major ways. First, immediate energy or the respiration. Glucose can be broken down into mitochondria to make ATP, which fuels almost all cell activities. Number two, storage as starch. Plants save extra glucose as starch, like how we keep rice in the pantry for later meals. The last one is the building materials or the cellulose. Glucose is linked into a long chains to form cellulose, which strengthens cell walls and gives plants their region.
Rule in the food chain. Glucose produced in the Calvin cycle powers plant growth, reproduction, and other vital processes. Plants store glucose as starch or use it to create cellulose for their structures. This glucose is also the starting point of most food chains, as it provides energy to herbivores, which are then consumed by carnivores. For example, grass produces glucose through photosynthesis, which is eaten by cows, and in turn humans eat beef from cows. The role of glucose in the food chain. Plants produce glucose through photosynthesis, with the Calvin cycle being a key part of this process. This glucose is the primary energy source for the plant itself, fueling its growth and vital functions. The glucose is also the fundamental energy source for the entire food chain. Herbivores eat the plants to get this energy, and then carnivores eat the herbivores, transferring the energy up the food chain. The example of grass, cows, and humans illustrates this transfer of energy from producer to consumer. Calvin cycle equation. The Calvin cycle can be summarized in the following chemical equation. 6CO2 plus 18 ATP plus 12 NADPH yields C6H12O6 plus 18 ATP plus 18 PI plus 12 NADP plus. In this equation, ATP and NADPH come from the light-dependent stage, while ATP, PI, and NADP plus are recycled back to that stage. Displays the overall chemical equation for the Calvin cycle. The Calvin cycle uses energy from the light-dependent reactions of photosynthesis to convert carbon dioxide into glucose, a form of sugar that plants use for energy. The key inputs are 6 molecules of carbon dioxide, 18 molecules of ATP, and 12 molecules of NADPH. The outputs are 1 molecule of glucose, 18 molecules of ADP, 18 inorganic phosphate groups, and 12 molecules of NADP+. The ADP, PI, and NADP+ are then recycled back to the light-dependent stage to be reused. Essentially, it's the process that converts light energy into chemical energy stored in glucose.
Good day, everyone. My topic is all about link with light dependent. The Calvin cycle is closely linked to the light dependent stage of photosynthesis. The light stage produces the ATP and NADPH required for the glucose production and the Calvin cycle. In turn, the Calvin cycle return ADP and NADP+ to the light stage, so they can be used in capturing light energy. Without the light-dependent stage, the Calvin cycle cannot proceed. So, ang light-dependent reaction kay closely linked gayud siya sa light-dependent kay ang yahimo sa light-dependent need sa glucose production ng light-dependent. So, if waray link-dependent, why sub-light-dependent mahitabo? Importance. The Calvin cycle is inertial because it produces glucose, the primary source of energy. For almost all organisms on Earth, it also plays an important role in removing carbon dioxide from the atmosphere, which help regulate the Earth climate. Furthermore, it supports plant growth, which in turn sustain the global food web. The Calvin cycle is important kay gahimo siya glucose for energy remove, carbon dioxide to help control the climate, and support plant growth that sustain the food chain.
Summary, the Calvin cycle is the light-independent stage of photosynthesis that occurs in the stroma. It uses carbon dioxide, ATP, and NADPH to make glucose in 3 steps: carbon fixation, reduction, and regeneration. 6 turns of the cycle are needed for one glucose molecule, making it essential for life on Earth.